If she had only been ugly, we would still be together.
Huh. Where's Dom? I'm here, but I don't see Dom anywhere. Is Dom up here? Is Dom?
Sorry.
Oh, hey, Dom. Sorry. Hey.
My scooter's in the... my scooter's in the cleaners.
Oh, your scooter's in the cleaner.
Sorry I'm late. Most guys don't scoot over
I know.
anymore,
I've
like back in the day. Michael Kosta, welcome to Dom Irrera live from the Lab Factory. Let me take off my Paul McCartney sweatshirt.
What?
Since I keep my finger on what's happening in the music industry today.
Is it? For real? Or did he give it to you?
No, I don't know.
Wait, so you just said that back in the day people used to scoot everywhere? Is that what happened?
Oh, yeah.
That's like that's what the 80s comic boom
the
was.
razors?
Yeah.
Is that kind of a razor?
This is a Zooter. I don't know. My mom gave it to me for my 30th birthday. What does that mean?
I mean, she still thinks of you as her child,
Yes.
her baby.
I turned 30, and that's what I got. Okay. And I love it. I think it's cool. I've been killed a few times, almost killed on L.A.
How far did you come?
I live 5 blocks from here.
You ever pick up a chick on that?
I've picked up a chick on that, but here's the thing. It's a weight capacity of 190, and I'm 185.
Oh, so you have to pick up an embryo.
I have to pick up any chick under 5 years. Actually, a chick. A baby chicken.
Little chicken?
No, I've never. I don't think girls think those are cool.
No, I don't think it's what we call in the business a pussy magnet, if I may say the word magnet on the stage.
Where are these cameras?
They're all over the place.
Yeah.
I'll make a false move. This
Here,
place,
there.
we're covered for shoplifting. We're covered. There's a camera. There's a camera. There's a camera.
Yeah. I'm so glad you asked me to do this.
Well, I'm glad you could do it. You know, we were talking at the Comedy Magic Club.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I thought you were very funny, very witty for a backstage guy.
Oh, okay. My backstage was probably funnier than my...
You got to work on your stage act.
Yeah.
Your backstage is terrific.
But it's nice to be asked to even, I mean, you know, you're a guy that I moved here maybe 6, 7 years ago. I don't remember, but, you know, you're you're one of these comics that I hate legend because it makes you seem like you're old and dying.
Like I'm dead, yeah.
No, exactly. But when I started doing comedy, you were already the guy in comedy. So it's cool that someone even asked you to do something. So thank you. That's
Please.
it. And I'm not going to sit here and give him fucking compliments the whole time. That's
Why are you getting angry at yourself for doing that?
Why am I getting angry at myself for complimenting him?
Yeah.
Dom bought me coffee. Isn't that nice?
Because I spend.
Yeah.
We get free water, but no free coffee.
Yeah, it's nice.
So tell me about, we talked about you were a tennis pro.
I was a tennis pro.
So we have that in common as far as athletics.
You were a tennis pro.
No, I played freshman football at West Catholic.
Oh, okay. You know, I played football in high school, and guess what position?
And?
What would a tennis player play?
Quarterback.
Kicker.
Oh.
I know. I was a lame ass. Because I played in high school, and my dad said, yeah, you can play football, but if you ruin your college scholarship, you are going to pay for it. So I said, well, how about I just kick? Because
could you kick?
I could kick. I mean, I kicked a game-winning field goal, 33 yards, which isn't very, you know, but I missed a lot too. But I like to think that when it came down to it.
Did they consider you a football player, the other guys?
No.
It's so sad, you know, when I did a thing with the NFL on Comedy Central called Offsides for a few years.
I remember that. Four seasons was that the show on?
I think we did it for 3.
Okay.
Then they fired me, and they fired the whole show, and they took Nick Bakay, and they realized Nick, although he's funny, was too cocky with the athletes. That's what I thought happened, because I had more of a relationship being a fellow athlete.
Yeah,
having played the game. When you play the game, it all slows down for you, as you know. But then they hired me back for 2 or 3 more years.
Yeah. I mean, I was not considered. My best friend was the quarterback and the wide receiver, so I was kind of like wasn't going to get picked on.
The quarterback doesn't get hit either.
He doesn't get hit either, but the quarterback doesn't leave practice early to go to tennis practice.
I see.
You're starting to figure it out now.
Yeah.
So I played. It was just to be with my friends, and it was really fun. I mean, I think it's the ultimate team sport, and that's why playing
football is, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, if this guy doesn't do his job, then this guy gets injured or gets hit. And I really loved that component because tennis it's like stand-up. I mean, you are out here alone.
Oh, yeah.
And so I enjoyed being a part of something that was like, hey, we've got to think of everybody before we think of ourselves.
No, I know. It's more. Look, as much as I do stand up, I love improv and I love working with people.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather play a team sport, but you can't make as much money and get as famous in improv.
Do they? It's all about fame. I mean, for me, it's always been get famous.
Yeah.
Do they have to? Does the improv troupe have to split the same money that like a headliner does, a stand-up?
Well, yeah. I mean,
That sucks.
Well, I know, but the club only has so much money.
Yeah.
You can add the seats and. Oh, I just wanted to tell you the one thing about the kicker. 'Cause I lost my train of thought.
Okay.
When we did the show, the kickers were always available for interviews. They were always available. It was the funniest thing.
I'm available.
Like they, you know, I would do like say Tampa Bay when Warren Sapp and Warwick Dunn are playing there. You want to talk to the kicker? He'll be, you know, he's over. There was a kicker, Jason Elam for the Broncos.
Yes, I remember him.
Blue sunglasses, blue wraparound sunglasses, big glass of iced tea. These guys are busting. Haley, Colorado is where they used to practice. They're busting their fucking chops in 100 degrees. And he's like, ooh, it's too cold.
I mean, but the thing that I like about kicker as opposed to punter is the kicker can be a prima donna, the kicker can be weird, but they've got to win the game occasionally. Occasionally, the pressure, everything is on them.
Yeah, I mean, the punter can be important.
The
but
punter's
not,
important, but the
well,
punter's...
he doesn't score.
He doesn't score. He
Except
can't,
Doug Flutie. Do you remember that?
Who?
Doug Flutie.
I remember Doug Flutie.
No, he drop kicked the ball and scored, I think it's 2 points.
I did not know that.
You could still drop kick a ball in the NFL and score. I don't know if it's 1 or 2 points, but at the end of his career, I think he was with the Pats.
Okay.
He drop kicked it. Belichick thought it was hilarious. Belichick, not that he laughs anyway. But
Right, yeah.
He seemed like he thought it was hilarious. If he were a normal human being.
Was he given? It was like 4th and 1, and they kind of.
They had the game, and he came in, and he just wanted to do this to have it in the record books.
I would love to see a drop kick. Well, you know, you've toured Australia many times. I've been there a couple times, and I enjoyed watching Aussie Rules.
Yeah, yeah.
Which there's all the drop kicking.
With that big fat football?
With the big fat football and the skinny white kid. There's like one black guy in the whole country, and he doesn't even
He's a
play.
Maori. That's where the indigenous people, they're from like Fiji, right? Or
I'm not sure.
M-A-I-R-O-I or one of those. You don't know those? They're the ones, you know, like on the what's the best rugby team in the world? The All Blacks.
Yeah, the New Zealand All Blacks.
Yeah, they have a couple guys that are kind of like almost black.
Yes.
And even if you're almost black, you're faster than the guys that are just plain white.
Even if you're almost, you're still definitely faster. They do that haka.
Oh, that.
Yeah, that's a weird thing.
Yeah, very weird.
It's very cool.
It's not unlike Ray Lewis's dance. Really. Think about it.
Yeah, it isn't that much different. I YouTubed it a few times, and I was like, wow, this is really intense. They do it looking at their opponent.
Oh, do they? Stick the tongue out?
Yeah, and they do the whole dance, and somehow they get away with doing it. Can you imagine if the Lakers did that, or they need to do that?
No, I can't. Well, you know, I do a very similar dance right before I take a dump. I do.
You do it? Okay.
Yeah, I just run around my house, and they know that he's going to go. And I just start dancing, my tongue's out. And
I usually just grab my phone.
Your phone?
Phone.
Oh, your phone. I thought you said your phone.
I don't grab my phone before I take
phone
a dump.
There I go, laughing again in a comedy podcast.
So I played tennis, but I don't know how we got in football, but I played for about 4 years on the tour. And
that's amazing. That's cool.
It was cool. It's so hard.
You fucking kidding? Of course it's hard.
I mean,
Every little rich white kid in America plays tennis.
Well, it's not the rich white kids.
Yes, it is. Don't argue with me.
It's the Russian kid.
Oh, yeah.
Who didn't have a home.
And he played every day.
And his dad put a rope up between two cars in a dirt parking lot, and that's the kid. And I went to Korea one time, and I'm playing in Korea, and I mean, these kids, they were so good, and it was life and death.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking here going, if tennis doesn't work out, what am I going to do next? You know, and it's
I
have a little bit of money saved.
It's got it right.
You know, and that's not.
Well, that's the way the gymnasts are in all those countries.
The Romanians.
They're all fucked up, all the countries. Except France. I like the girls.
The girls in France? I had a hard time communicating with any girls in France.
Why? Because you don't speak French.
Yeah.
That's a killer.
Do you speak French?
Oui, on peut.
Oh, my goodness. Dom Irrera speaks French.
I'm not saying I speak French, but I spoke well enough for them to say, please, monsieur, I thank you for trying. I was speaking. But at least that, they respected the fact that I would try.
But I tried in Paris to speak French, and they hated my guts.
Really?
But you just have such a likable face. You know what I mean? That should be the
Big,
name of your
fat
next
face.
CD, Likeable Face.
Likeable face. Look at the mug on that Guido.
I come in there.
My face has gotten bigger. I feel like Barry Bonds.
Your face has gotten bigger?
Yeah.
Are you roiding?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you take a little bit of steroids.
I do it, before a show. You ever see me perform?
I've seen you
Who
perform.
could do that straight?
What's comedy steroids? Everyone's roiding now or HGH. What is it for us? Do we have one?
I guess Coke. I don't
Coke?
know. I never did it. Did you
Yeah.
ever do Coke?
I've done it once.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Is it?
It
You recommend it?
I recommend it
for
to everyone.
America's youth?
All the young kids out there watching. Where's the camera? No, it's scary how it's like you try something and you're like, I see why this is addictive.
I would like to try heroin.
I think you should try that.
I'm not going to unless I get a life-threatening illness.
Right.
If I know I'm going out, I'm going out.
Don't you kind of want to try all that stuff? I mean,
I don't want to try acid, and I don't want to
Okay.
try any hallucinogenic mushrooms. I like being down. I like being like, your heart beats,
Yeah.
and then about 4 seconds later, beats again. I want to be, I like that Xanax and alcohol.
Okay. Someone just gave me some marijuana lollipops.
Excuse me. Really?
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, all this food
Did I
talk.
just burp and you said, excuse me?
You just burped, and I said,
You're
excuse me.
such a compassionate person. I can't believe you. How do you stop? Why do you stop giving?
It's very hard for me whenever anyone
Put a
burps,
sidecar
say,
on that. I want to hang with you from now on.
I don't know what I'm gonna. How do you do the marijuana lollipop? Is it immediate? Do you finish the whole thing and then you wait?
I think that it probably will.
I mean, we'll have to get some comments on this YouTube video and see.
Yeah, please tweet us. What's your Twitter?
My twit. I'm a twit, but my Twitter
What is your Twitter?
At Michael Kosta. So is my Instagram. I follow you on Instagram. That's fun.
Oh,
Instagram's fun.
it's very it's hit and miss because I have to do it with some girl who knows how to do it.
Oh yeah, no, but you get some good ones. You don't do it that much, but when you do it, I'm always like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got good followers on there. Instagram, I don't know so much. I like it, but I feel like when Facebook gets involved, they're gonna screw us somehow.
I don't know. My goddaughter does all that, and there's also a really instant one, Quick Pick or something.
I don't know.
I
mean, how much have you seen the comedy world change? I mean, this is
it's
insane.
fucking incredible. I mean,
no one had to tweet back then.
the idea that you could become famous without any of the network help, without any of that shit,
Yeah.
is phenomenal. I mean, it takes away a lot of the power. What Louis C.K. did
Yeah.
Louis was already pretty famous, obviously, but what he did with his album,
Yeah, when he put it on his own website.
put it on his own website instead of like dealing with Showtime and all them. It's like, but you know what? They got too cocky.
I mean, you've done so many different networks. You would know. I mean, I did one Comedy Central half hour, and they basically send everyone the same contract, and they sign it here. And
they went down with the money because they know that they got you by the balls.
well, I mean, I tell anyone that wants to know. They pay you. Back when I did it a few years ago, it was $15,000 to do a half hour. Everyone gets paid that, and it's a one-time fee. And they fucking aired that thing 100 times.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
It's unbelievable.
They eat you up, and then they'll be the ones that are suffering if all this shit takes off.
Right.
Joe Rogan doesn't need them.
Yeah. These
So many people,
But here's the thing: are the people I find when I started comedy 10 years ago, there wasn't Twitter either. It was barely in Facebook. Barely Facebook.
Well, Dane really was the one who capitalized on Facebook.
Or
Amazingly.
MySpace, yeah, Facebook.
Was it MySpace, right?
But I'm saying there's people now that are getting stand-up tour dates because their Twitter's good.
Well, Kevin Hart gave the social media credit for that.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah. But what are you looking for? Are you looking for your marijuana lollipops?
No, I wanted to show you that thing on the phone. I'll show it to you later.
Okay.
I guess my phone is in my car.
I mean, I find this stuff to be like so wild to me that you click on certain accounts and you're like, they have 65,000 followers.
Well, think about from my perspective because I could be left in the dark if I didn't try and if I didn't have like young people around me that helped me with this. Because I actually said to Chris D'Elia, I said, you know, something about. I said, how can I Google you back? Right? He goes, Google me back. That's not even a question.
Right.
Like I'm so fucking retarded. I'm learning, but
I think you're so smart. I mean, I go to the videos on this podcast. It's got 20,000 views, 30,000 views. That's amazing.
Yeah, but on Joe Rogan's, we had over 100,000.
That's amazing. I mean, that's amazing. It's so hard to get those types of numbers.
Yeah.
And I think it's a testament to you being willing
Thank
to...
you.
Yeah. But here's a question. I know it's your podcast, so I'll stop talking. But
No, I want you to talk.
the act is still the most important thing, isn't it? And I maybe I'm asking because I want the answer to be yes.
Well,
The act on this stage that you're performing on a headlining set, an hour on the road, 15-minute spot here, whatever, isn't it the most important?
No.
No. Okay.
and I'll tell you why. Because I think that the public can be sold a bill of goods by good promotion, by a funny, a guy who's funny on Twitter, and I think that you can misrepresent your talent by being talented in that area. In other words,
Okay.
I think you can be a great comic and you don't know anything about any of that shit and nobody knows you.
Correct.
You can be a hack, be funny, and use all the media to the best and be much more famous and make it. So sadly enough, the act is not the most important thing. Unless you care about quality and integrity.
Well, yeah, I guess.
I mean, if you care about really being funny, quality, integrity, then hands down the act's the most important. But to get shown...
Yeah.
To get known, this is more important.
But I mean, when the public does buy the ticket because of the good promotion.
Oh, well, there's.
But I mean, like Louis, the reason Louis is sustained is because his act is funny. Or Tosh.
Right.
Yeah, all my friends back home go, Tosh came out of nowhere. And I'm
No,
like,
he
the guy's
didn't.
been funny for 25 years, whatever
He worked with me for years.
Yeah, he's been funny forever. And even, so you do have to sustain them with a good act.
Okay, so then it's a longer answer.
Okay.
No, the act isn't the most important, but in the end, there's certainly you're not going to last. What happens?
You're not gonna last.
You're not going to.
You're not gonna last.
Star Search, not Star Search. What was the one? Last Comic Standing.
Yes.
Good example.
Yeah.
The acts that got famous on that in that 2-minute thing had a really good year that year.
Yeah.
Next year wasn't so good.
Yeah.
Now most of them are struggling.
Yeah, exactly.
The ones that were good before it started are still doing okay.
Still good.
John F. Heffron.
Still got a great act.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's Tammy Pescatelli.
Yeah.
People that had an act already.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, they just went right down.
Yeah.
I remember, what's his name? The kid who had won it. And he working in San Francisco with me. Really nice kid, an Asian kid. Ty Babylonia. No, that was a skater. What was his name?
Was it Dat Fan?
Dat Fan.
Okay.
And he said to me, man, and I was closing the show, and I was on a percentage, and he fucking packed the place.
He was featuring.
He was
And
featuring.
he had one last comic.
He had one last comic
So he
stand.
obviously was. It was a contract that was done months before he'd won or whatever.
No,
it was still- okay.
because he didn't have more than 25 minutes.
Right.
And he said to me, and he was such a nice kid, and he goes, I don't, because he didn't know if he was going to really have a career in comedy.
Right.
He was almost startled that he won. But he said, thanks so much for working with me. I go, thank you. Because I didn't want to say, listen, man, I might be like a bigger deal in some ways, but you're filling this place.
Yeah.
I'm bringing in a couple hundred. You're filling in the rest,
Yeah.
and I'm on a percentage.
Yeah.
So it was great. I miss him.
Yeah. Is he
I
around?
liked it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's interesting. I mean, I remember talking to. I love comedy. I love comedians. I feel like this is my community now. You know, like when you pick this profession, it's like, and I love hearing the different. I meet younger comics now on the road, and they're on Twitter, and they're killing it on there, or they're just working. And then I meet older guys that are saying, the act used to be the most important thing. People used to work on their act, but now they work. And I'm going, well, it's just interesting to get all these different perspectives.
Yeah. Well, I guess that what you hope for is a balance, and in the end, you want to be credited with being a really good stand-up because, you know when you're a good stand-up when all the stand-ups. Nobody badmouths you.
Yeah.
And there's no they can't say, like nobody ever said, fucking Louis C.K. You lucky bastard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
They all, Louis and David Tell and Tosh and those guys. Nobody. when there's no like dirt around.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
You know.
But isn't that also because it just took a long? Doesn't it just take a long time?
Well, yeah, it's much. I mean, it's not like swimming.
Yeah.
When you're done, you're done at 19.
Right, or tennis or whatever. Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
yeah, I mean,
it takes a long. These guys. Have
well,
been
how many? Name me one great 21-year-old comedian
yeah,
right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the young comics that are making it are 40.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
I mean,
It's
look at
interesting.
Mark Maron.
Yeah.
And Mark Maron was always funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, he was always angry, but now he learned how to channel that
Yeah.
anger into. But it took him a long time.
I saw him 7 years ago at the Aspen Comedy Festival, and I was like, this guy is hilarious. He was so
Yeah.
he was either hilarious or he was completely honest, and it wasn't always funny. But you're like, I can't believe that guy
Yeah.
just said that about himself. But yeah, it just takes a long time, and I'm someone I love watching people more successful, more better comedians than me. But the more I learn, it's like, man, this just is a long road, which is great because I love doing comedy. And
Yeah.
I feel like if your whole goal is fame.
Now,
Fuck
are
you.
you
That's dumb.
working as an actor and a comedian now? Or?
I'm mostly stand up, and I will go out to act, but it's not my number one passion.
Yeah.
I like to host. I'd love to host.
Yeah, me too.
I've hosted a bunch of stuff. I know you've done a bunch.
Well, you know what's funny about hosting? We here in the U.S. think of the MC as like the schlug
Yeah.
who lives 2 blocks from the club. Who lives 2 blocks.
The guy who can get you pot.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a car, But I mean, like in Canada and I go to Kilkenny every year.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, in London and some of these places, the host is the star of the show. It's his show.
Yeah.
And I love hosting.
I think it's the nicest compliment you can get is, hey, we want you to host the show.
Yeah.
The audience sees the host more than anybody.
Yeah, we have a thing here called Breaking Balls with Dom Irrera, and
Okay.
we just started doing it, and we're opening it up to the crowd, where
Okay.
the crowd can talk more, and like the girl makes all the announcements, like, "Oh, fuck you, you can't talk 2-drink minimum. Fuck you, I'll have 10 drinks, you fucking whore." Just kidding around with her, and
That's funny, yeah.
it just starts out, and it's, I mean, it's a lot of fun.
But you host it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hosted.
When I first played in Canada, someone explained that to me, that the host, and I was like, this makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Because when you just have a brand new comic hosting the show, like I do everywhere on the road, like, oh, this is the new, he's been doing comedy 7 weeks. He's now going to open the show. The guy doesn't have the skills to do that, and I'm not being
Right.
disrespectful to him. He hasn't been doing comedy long enough.
Yeah.
Put a more experienced guy on the stage
Right.
first.
Let him do his little
Let
7
him
minutes.
get him going, and then put the
Yeah, you're
least
right.
experience in the middle.
Because a lot of times the more experienced guy's ego says that he shouldn't. I ain't no fucking MC,
Yeah.
man. You know what I mean? So that's the problem with it. Because in Boston, they used to have their own Irish mafia group of comedians. They're all good friends of mine, and
Okay.
they're great comedians. But they were that was their thing. Lenny Clark had Tuesday nights. Don
Yes.
Gavin had Wednesday nights. Sweeney. Do you know who those guys are?
I mean, I saw that documentary.
Oh, I didn't see the documentary.
Yeah.
But Fran,
That's the only way I ever learn about any subject now. It's just a
Documentaries?
documentary. It's
Yeah.
like the cliff notes of the whole thing.
It's a good way to learn.
I mean, wasn't it called When Stand-Up Stood Out? Is that what it's called?
Fran something, right? Did it?
I don't know.
forget.
It was good.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Was Leary in it?
Yeah, Larry was in it. And then some guy told me, or some guy talked about getting paid in bricks of cocaine. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, that was a big thing in those days. Yeah.
mean-
I don't know how I dodged it. I guess just being such a pussy. I
You're
was so
a-
lucky I didn't do those drugs.
You are lucky. I mean,
I didn't even drink. I drink now.
were you? Well, lots of times it has to do with your living arrangement. Were you living with your parents and stuff? 'Cause
No.
How are you going to get all?
My parents were never together.
Okay.
You
just didn't do it.
No, I was always living with a chick.
Yeah.
May I say the word chick?
Yeah.
a woman, a young woman. I was married 4 times, but only really
Okay.
legally married once.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm tired.
Married 4
I
times.
don't have
but
any
really-
jizz left. I'm telling you, I'm out of jizz.
I love those stories. Not the stories of you being out of jizz, but the stories of comics getting paid in bricks of coke. That
That's
just is,
hilarious.
I mean, and
Well-
that was during the whole boom. You started in Philly though?
I started in Miami as an actor.
Oh, okay.
I was doing children's theater and I was doing plays in college. Then I went to New York, commercials,
Jesus.
acting, and then stand-up, and then out here, stand-up and acting. And how about you? Did you act in college? Where'd you go to school, by the way?
I went to University of Illinois.
The Fighting Illini.
Fighting Illini. I'm wearing a San Diego State basketball shirt because my best friend is the assistant coach. So go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs.
San Diego State, yeah.
San Diego
Somebody
State.
was arguing with me, fucking idiot, that University of San Diego is a state school. I go, it's a Catholic college.
University of San Diego is definitely a Catholic school.
Yeah.
There's a giant cathedral when you walk
Right,
in.
I know.
And it's rich kids, that one. This one's a state school.
Yeah,
This one's a state school. I grew up in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Okay.
And ended up going to University of Illinois and playing tennis there.
Would you ever want to host a show?
Yeah.
Like a talk show?
That's what I'd love to do.
Yeah, you'd be good at that.
Thank you, Dom. I'm trying not to,
No, I mean, I know people say that, but it's
Yeah.
you'll be very good at that.
That's what I would love to do. I always grew up. I don't know about you. I grew up idolizing hosts. I remember staying up late with my parents, like this massive portable TV, watching Carson's last show.
Yeah.
And I was, when was that?
When
89.
Bette Midler sang to him?
Yes, I was 9. I forget
Holy
what year it
shit.
was. I was fucking 9, and I loved hosts. I loved Kilborn on the original Daily Show.
Isn't that weird? Because I was on the show with Carson.
You weren't on the last show.
No.
I was gonna say. I
wasn't,
hope I remember.
wasn't that big a deal. No, but I mean, I was on.
I mean,
I was
what
on it
was
with
that
him.
like?
Fucking surreal. It was unbelievable because when I was a kid at camp, I used to stay up late to watch. I used to sneak the little TV under
Yep.
my pillow, watch Carson, and then to be on the show and to hear him and Ed McMahon laughing, like holy shit.
What
And I couldn't look over, and it was
Yeah.
fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
And the crowd was like endless. It was
Yeah.
just. I remember they pulled that curtain back, and it was like, here it goes. It was like the gladiators.
Yeah.
You're let out, and
They push you out.
Ay.
And how long was your set? Just a normal stand-up set?
5 or 6 minutes.
Do you remember it still?
I remember that I did a joke about smoking. I hate when people smoke in my face. I got a nasty habit, spitting. But I would never sit at lunch with somebody. So, how was your day? I had a rough one. I had a pretty bad day myself. I remember that.
Okay, that's funny.
I think that was on the first one. And then there's stuff about Italians and Joey Bag of Donuts and Jimmy the Woman. And
Okay.
you could see some of that stuff at the Tropicana, March 2nd.
Oh, there we go.
Huh?
You're pushing stuff, huh?
Columbus, Ohio. Before that,
Which one? Funny Bone?
February,
Okay.
the end of February. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm at Long Island. What was it called? The Brokerage Pub and McGuire's. Two
Oh,
great
wow.
plots. I
Fun.
love it. Oh, no, I'm at Governor's.
Governors. Yep.
Governor's.
Okay.
And
okay.
they're all the same guys, so I can't offend anybody.
right.
They own them all.
That's so cool that you got to be on
I know.
on Carson.
I know. I was like, just like old enough to have worked with some of those really old legends like Steve Allen.
Wow.
And all those guys and Milton Berle, because I did a lot of roast.
Okay.
And it was pretty cool to get the tail end of their careers.
How old were you when you did Carson?
I don't know, 34
Okay. Something.
or 5.
And was that like your big stand-up spot? Had to be at the time.
Well, yeah, it was the imprimatur, like the stamp.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the biggest thing was the Rodney Dangerfield special.
Yeah. And
As far as like exposure
Yeah.
and making an instant draw. But Carson, this was before Rodney. It was a year before it.
Okay.
And it was really heavy. And I can't say it was fun.
You're okay.
Because it was, I mean, I felt like my head was going to explode, like in a cartoon. I swear to God, I looked. We're in Burbank. And I looked into the hills.
Yeah.
And I thought, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I'm going to run away and start a
After?
new.
Before?
Before.
What? Before.
I'm going to start a new life in the hills.
I remember you always hear athletes say, I'm just relieved when they win or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember I was fortunate enough to do The Tonight Show, not with Johnny Carson, but it was for me, it was with Jay Leno.
It's still millions of people.
It was something, but it made me legitimate all of a sudden. I
Yeah.
was still the same comic, but my mom's friends and my other friends were like, oh, he's a comedian now, other than just
yeah.
a guy who tells jokes. But I remember leaving going, I'm so glad that's over. And that wasn't even
Yeah.
as big of a stage as Carson. I mean, it's totally nerve-wracking.
I remember people saying, "Have fun,
Have fun.
have fun, have fun." How you have fun? This is
Yeah.
terrifying.
When I did my first one, Jay said to me, "Oh, just relax, have fun. You'll be, whatever. Yeah, have fun." So then I said, "Okay, when was your first Tonight Show?" And he goes, "March 26, 19, whatever." And I was like, "Well, yeah. So you still remember the date, and it's 50 years ago, and
Right.
I'm
Yeah, and I'm supposed
you're
to
telling
have
me
fun.
to have fun and relax." Oh man.
Well,
that's
the
fun.
weird thing about him was, and it's a different subject, but he was so good on Letterman. The
Leno.
irony, Leno was so
Yes.
good on Letterman, and then when he gets his own show, he became something else.
Yeah.
And I always tell people. I mean, I know I don't want to sound mean to Jay, but I used to tell people how funny he was, and they don't believe me.
I know.
Because they're young guys, and they think him as just this affable host who's always trying to please everybody. Fucking get mad at somebody.
Do you think the network just wore him down, and he just kept saying yes?
I just think that was the thing that he thought would keep the job for him.
Yeah.
And I just think that, I mean, like you said, one of the things about today's group of comedians, they appreciate honesty.
Yeah.
They appreciate no bullshit. Like that show business stuff doesn't work anymore. May I embarrass this man? This is a beautiful cat. And I promised myself I wasn't going to cry today. But that,
Right.
everybody sees through that shit, you know?
Right. Well, I find opinions funny. I don't always have to agree
Oh,
with
I
the
do
opinion,
too.
but
That's why-
opinions are funny. So
Yeah.
with Jay, I'm always like, I would love to know how you really feel about this.
Me too. He'll
But
never tell you.
Yeah.
Like Rogan.
Yeah.
Rogan is so fucking sure of himself.
Yes.
I don't think Joe's right all the time.
Yeah.
I love Joe. But I mean, I never have the convictions that he
Yes.
has in something.
Well, you listen to a sports radio talk show, these guys who do 4
Oh, yeah.
hours. I mean, every topic this is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And it's like you end up agreeing with them. You have
Oh,
no
yeah.
idea what they're even talking about. You're like, I agree with that. And I'm sure Joe comes from the MMA, doesn't come from the MMA world, but he does
Yeah.
very well in that world.
Yeah, he's great.
You need strong opinions. And I think as a comedian, it's the same, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
My opinion is to have strong opinions. And if you don't believe that, you can go fuck yourself.
Now that's an opinion.
That's an opinion.
You see the irony and the twist?
It's funny being in a club that's so empty. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Oh,
I've
you'll
played-
get used to
I've
it.
played plenty
Once you
of
start
empty-
headlining, you'll be used to it. Believe me.
I've played plenty of
This is
empty-
what I'm used to now in my whining years.
You draw.
My waning years.
You draw.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. I don't
Luckily.
draw. And
Well, you will. You got to get out there.
Yeah. I mean, I get, I get a lot of
Do you have a twit?
a twin.
Do you have a twat in your tweet?
I do have a twat as well. Maybe that's my problem.
I thought that I smelled something.
It's my twat. That's why I keep crossing
Aromatic.
my legs. That's why I keep crossing my legs. Is there a more offensive word than twat?
That's a beautiful vagina you have right there, mister. Don't ever change.
Snatch? Is that a more? What's better, snatch or twat?
Honey
Is this all
pot.
honey pot? Is this all
Love
being-
mound.
Does this edit? Or you just run it?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't care.
It's a podcast. It's not. We don't have any censors.
I love it.
Fuck them.
I love
Fuck
that we're
the
on a
censors.
stage too. That's
Censors
great.
can suck my black cock. And
I-
I do mean black.
I first saw you perform at the Comedy Store when I first moved here, and we said hello. You're always very nice to people, and you're just a nice guy. I like that. Just be nice to everybody. But then I never really saw you do your A shit until Montreal a couple of years ago, and it was at a gala. Who was Steve Martin hosting? Was it Louis Black hosting?
Louis Black.
And you just ripped it up. And I remember talking to you after. I don't know if you remember, but I remember going, dude, I've seen you at the store a bunch, but I never, you're working out, you're whatever.
yeah.
It's not like you were doing bad. You're always doing well. But I saw your gala, and it was just like, whoa. And that was really fun. And
That's a great venue.
That was sweet.
Saint Denis. I don't
Yeah.
think they're there this year, but
yeah.
let's first of all, I've been doing Montreal more than any other
It's-
American comedian, so I'm very comfortable there. But the roar of that couple thousand people is, I was in Sydney at the Opera House.
Sure.
We did a thing there, and even though I like clubs better, that roar is so fucking. It's a wave of energy. You feel-
Where? At Sydney or at Saint Denis?
Well, both.
Yeah,
But I'm just
yeah.
talking about that size of
That-
room.
yeah.
Because it's not too big. Like I performed in arenas with Cher, and they're a little too big for stand up, But
How the fuck did you get that gig?
she liked me.
Yeah.
Yeah. She saw me at the Improv, but like one time I was at Madison Square Garden, right? And I try not to get nervous. I try to have a glass of wine, boom.
Yeah.
and my sister got nervous. She started having like a panic attack for me.
Yeah, for you.
And then I started getting feeding. I'm thinking, oh shit, I can't. And it was the first time I ever like was in these big arenas. I was like, we did 2 shows, but this is only the first show, and I wouldn't look up because I knew that all the banners were up there, all the Rangers, Knicks,
Right.
and everything, and I knew, and it's like the fucking Garden. The next night, or
This was with Cher?
this was Cher.
Okay.
And I was at the Pepsi. It was called PepsiCo, I think, the center in Denver. It was bigger than the Garden, and I was so fucking relaxed, thinking, "Whew, what a relief to be back in a normal place, normal 22,000 people place."
That's. I remember your gala because Lewis was a great host, did a great job, and then you guys had such a strong show. I forget who else was on. The night before, I was on with Pamela Anderson hosting.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, yeah.
And it was disastrous.
But that's great that you got that.
It was awesome. I had an awesome time, and it was so fun. And but I just remember watching.
So you were only 26 years old.
No, this was only 3 years ago, I think.
Oh,
I was 30, maybe 28.
Oh,
29.
I thought you were 30 now.
I'm 33 now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But it was fun to watch a good host too. We were talking about hosting earlier. Pamela did not know how to host.
No.
She didn't know how to do comedy. And in fact, they cut her out of the whole show. When they aired the show, she wasn't even in it.
Really?
They just cut her out. There was no. My gala is me and a
The
bunch of people.
hostless
There was no the hostless gala.
The ghost of comedy
The
past.
ghost of hostless gala. That'd be a funny show. The ghost. Yeah, that was fun, man.
How did you get that? That's hard to get.
What did I do? I did it the year before, and I just did a bunch of like.
Did you do New Faces?
I didn't. My new Faces was the last year of Aspen. Did you ever do Aspen? You must have.
I couldn't do it because of my loyalty to
Okay.
Montreal.
So I did New Faces Aspen 2006. No, I think it was 2005. Anyways.
So you started right after the pros, huh? Right after your. What'd you do? Go to
Yeah.
college, play a couple of years in the pros, tennis?
I went to college, graduated 2002, and I was doing comedy in college, but it was, I was studying and playing tennis. Once a week, I'd run down to the Union and do some stuff, or I hosted a really once a 2-3 weeks a radio show where I would write bits.
Yeah.
And then when I was on the road as a comedian, as a tennis player, I would come back home to Ann Arbor and get up on an open mic. But it was fine when tennis was finally done. I got offered the job to coach at University of Michigan, men's team, the assistant job. So I took that, and while I was doing that, 2003, 2004, I was doing stand-up every
Did
night.
you go to the Comedy Nest in those places?
I would go to where was I in Michigan? It was like Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase, Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle.
That's Mark.
Yeah.
Mark Ridley, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, your Comedy Nest is in Montreal, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, or another place.
Mark Ridley's the one I was thinking of, though. Yeah,
Mark Ridley was one of the few people in the Detroit area who just was so helpful for me.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He's a super nice guy. And then Detroit's a good place to start to do comedy.
Yeah.
Tons of rooms, no industry anywhere. No one's going to see how bad you are.
Yeah.
And it was fun. We had a great time. But eventually I came out here, so.
Yeah, I always tell these guys when they ask me for advice, I go, don't let these guys see you until you're over ready.
Yeah.
Because they say that they don't judge you, but they do.
They do.
Like if Jamie sees somebody and he gets it in his head that they're not good,
Yeah.
takes a long time.
Takes a long time. I always get guys, and you must get this, I always get guys I work with on the road ask me to help them get an agent. And I'm always like, you don't need an agent. I barely need an agent. Barely. I could still, it's unbelievable how many times, hey, how'd you get your agent? I go, dude,
Yeah.
don't worry about
Well,
it.
they think that there's this magic door
Yeah.
you go through. Well, all he needs is an agent. Once you get an agent, then it's just fielding offers.
Yeah, fielding, getting buyers to fight for how much money they should pay you, and it's like, no. What's your policy? I know you don't deal with it now. What did you always do with shitty hotels when they would put you in shitty hotels? You don't deal with this now.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I got to say, I've been very fortunate with that because I was on the road with Sheriff for years, and we always stayed at 5-star hotels. It was almost too much because a cup of tea is a big production.
Wireless is $15 or this.
Yeah, and part of the clubs that I do now, they know me, so they know that I always want room service. I don't have to have a 5-star hotel, but
Yeah.
I like the Westin or something
Yeah.
at least up there.
Yeah.
I haven't, I remember one time working for this place in Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware, called had a big like teeth smile. There was some giggles or whatever.
Teeths.
Tickles or giggles.
Tickles,
or,
teeth.
Tickle. Anyway, they put 3 of us in one room, and the sheets were torn and duct taped together.
Oh, shut up.
So I called up. You shut up, girl. I called up. I called up a friend of mine to pick me up to save me. He was living in Wilmington, but I haven't had many experiences like that. One time I went to Tampa, and the air conditioner was blowing on my head. It was right next to the bed, so it was fucking horrible. You're either boiling hot or freezing.
Tampa is a fucking. That place can get so hot.
Yeah, but I was just there last week, and it was great.
Yeah.
Ask me how I did.
How'd you do?
I don't want to brag. Talk about it later.
It's always like a scary thing about when you get a shitty hotel, like how much are you allowed? If you're a draw, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
But when you're not a draw, but you believe in your act and you believe you're funny and you should be treated fairly, it gets like, what do I do? Do I fuss or do I just put up with it?
But you know what? You got to find a way to separate yourself. Whether it's, like hopefully what happens is you get so good that people are asking for you.
Yeah.
Like you get so good when you're working here or at the Comedy Magic or the store or any of these places that, is that guy coming on again?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's, the people think that, you call up the president of show business because your uncle fixed his car and he's going to,
You're in.
You're in.
Yeah.
If it were only that easy. But, I got to tell you one thing, that's interesting from my perspective, having been around a long time. It does not get easier to write material.
Okay.
I mean, for me, it's so drudgery because you're competing with a better act because it's been around longer and it's honed more. You know what I mean? So
of course.
To break the starting lineup, you don't try stuff as much because you get, I don't like to get too safe, but you do have a tendency to go, fuck this, I'm killing. That chick's too hot. I'm not going down in front of her.
Right.
Well,
that's one thing I'm very curious about, especially with someone that has done so many different shows and specials. When I go headline somewhere, lots of times, it's my first time headlining that club. Now, I'm 33, been headlining maybe 5 or 6 years. So some places know me and are going to book me every year or whatever. But some places I've got to prove myself for the first time. I can't get up there and wing 15 new minutes.
No.
You got to do the best shit you have.
Yeah.
So but you're going back now, and there's people that haven't seen you, or the people that have seen you before, or you're a draw. You've got to crush.
Yeah.
But you're still sneaking in new stuff.
You have to. They think they want to see the same stuff, but believe me, the numbers will dwindle.
Yeah.
It's not the Beach Boys reunion where they really want to hear California Girl for the 5,000th time.
Right.
Because it's a joke, so there's no surprise to it. There's no anything.
Yeah.
Music's different, and people they'll holler out stuff in my act. I go, you don't want to hear that. They go, we do. That's why we came. I go, well, go watch it on on demand. But I try and make them happy. But it's like it's funny. It's a funny compliment.
Yeah.
Because at least they know you.
Do you remember all those jokes?
No,
I don't remember. I mean, I don't remember a lot of people go, hey, you should do that dating a vegan joke, and I'm like, I don't even remember that joke.
That's a good sign. That means you moved on.
Yeah.
I had a joke in the Rodney Dangerfield special that I'd love to see because these Italian guys always remind me. They go, the one where a guy ripped your arm off, and you go, hey, I used to hug my sister with that arm. That was my favorite arm. And I don't remember the joke. I remember there's something funny about the idea, like somebody tearing your arm off and it's still willing to fight.
Yeah.
But if anybody's seen my act recently, can you mail it to me?
Could you mail him? And if you have his arm, could you mail him his arm?
March 2nd, Tropicana. You better be there.
Where Tropicana? Oh yeah, they renovated that. And it's a Laugh Factory Tropicana, right?
No, this is in Atlantic City.
Atlantic City. Okay.
But it's a 2,000-seater.
Whoa.
Because there's a comedy club there, run by a guy that I'm not particularly fond of. Okay. I don't want them to confuse it with that.
Okay, fair enough.
Have you worked the East Coast yet?
No, I've not worked the East Coast. I was supposed to do comics up in, they had the comics.
Oh, yeah.
But they had the one up at the casino. I was supposed to do that.
They don't have that anymore?
No, I had to cancel it, or something came up, and then we're currently rescheduling. I did a Staten Island gig one time.
Can you help me get an agent?
Yeah, you don't want my agent.
Who's your agent?
He called me the other day. My agent's assistant called. I've been doing it on stage, but it's absolutely true. My assistant's agent called me, put me on hold, said wait for the assistant, wait for the agent. This fucking drives me insane. So now I'm on hold, waiting for the agent, and then the assistant comes back on and goes, "Who are you holding for?" I go, "I'm holding for Doug," and they go, "He's not available." I fucking you fucking called
wait!
me.
I think I know that agent. What agency?
Yeah, this was that
APA?
This was not APA. I'm with APA.
Gersh.
I'm with APA. This was WMA at the time.
Oh.
Yeah, but I can't say the agent's name. I don't know why I'm protecting this motherfucker.
You could say his name. Say his name. What's his name?
His name is Douglas. But this was
Douglas. I know.
You know Douglas. You know.
He
Douglas.
used to be with Gersh.
Probably. Don't they all used to be with somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm with APA now, and I like them. They do a good job with me. Every club I go to hates them because I think they're real assholes to them. But that's nice. I like them. So.
Yeah.
I always go, "Do you like working with my agent?" And they go, "No, we hate it." And I go, "Oh, well, I'm sorry, but thanks for having me."
Well, a lot of the clubs hate all the agents.
Of course, their agents' job is to make them pay more money. Of course, they hate them. You know,
but there's a reality there where how much I just want people to be fair. I know that you can only afford so much. If there's 300 seats and people pay $20 a head, you can't get $25,000 for the show.
Correct.
I mean, obviously.
Use your brain. Both agents and buyers. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I had a guy once. We did a show that was packed, right? And I said, "Wow, we really did well." I guess I went into bonuses. He goes, "No, it was all comped." I said, "So I'm not getting paid for that?" He goes, "Well, no, not really." I said, "So you just screwed me?"
Yeah.
He goes, "I didn't think of it that way, but yeah." I said, "You're my friend. You're fucking. How could you do that?"
Yeah.
All right, we'll make it up to you. I had an agent one time tell me he screwed me on a percentage, and he got drunk, and he says, I can't, not an agent, a club owner.
Yeah.
He goes, "I can't look you in the eye. You're too nice a guy. I screwed you. I screwed you out of a couple grand for the first show Saturday." I said, then the next night he was and we were in this place. I don't want him to say where it is.
Yeah.
And his publicist was there and his manager. And when he was so drunk and telling me the truth, I just saw the manager go like this. He just started shaking his head like, "Oh, fuck." So then the next night I go in.
Jesus.
And he tells me that
this is what I have to look forward to.
Yeah. No, most of the stories are good, really. But he tells me the next night, I was only kidding, you know that.
Oh, for fuck's sake, he's sober now.
Yeah. I said, "No, you weren't." He goes, "Yeah, I was kidding." I said, "Look, I was proud of you for fucking telling the truth finally.
Yes.
I knew that I went into percentage and anyway.
Because you have to count. I've only had a couple door deals, very small door deals, but
try to stay away from them.
It seemed okay. It's good advice to hear because I'm counting people and then they give me the numbers and I'm like, well, who's comped and who's not? And it's like you don't want to get in all that shit.
It's like getting a points on the gross on a film.
Yeah, right.
As opposed to the net. You know what I mean? It's like they'll find ways to fuck you.
They know what. Oh, they're comped or they're not comped. It's just so funny because when you start, you just want to tell jokes, and that's still really all I want to do. I like making people laugh. But there's also reality to your life, which is finances and money and gas and fucking, maybe your friend Dom buys you coffee and then asks you for $2.25 later. That's the shit that I'm talking about, you guys. He says he buys you coffee, then he asks me for $2.25.
Well, hey, $2.25 is $2.25.
Yeah, it's two.
My mother used to say that all the time. Like whatever it was, $5.50. Well, you can't argue with that.
I always hate when people say it is what it is.
I hate
what the
that.
fuck is that?
I know.
Oh well, the car mechanic did
How
the
could it
thing.
not
Well, it
be?
is what it is. What does that mean? It is what it is.
How could it? Well, because it is what it is. It can't be anything but what it is. I did a joke like that. I'm not saying that's the comedian yet.
Okay.
And Chris D'Elia did it. I said, "Chris, I just did that joke." He goes, "Oh yeah, I saw it. I'm sorry, I forgot." I loved his honesty.
That
he
is
goes, "I won't
nice.
do it anymore." I said, "I do it. I don't give a fuck."
I've had a couple.
I mean, like it's such an easy observation.
Yes.
You never saw me do that.
I never saw you.
It's like, of course not. I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
It is. It is. No, but I don't know. That's happened to me like once or twice where I'll get off the stage and I'll go, "Oh my God, that little funny ad lib I did was something that I had heard from someone." And
Yeah.
you immediately text them or call them and go, by the way, and I've had comics do it with me, and I go, dude, we get it. Thank you for letting me know. Chris saying, oh my God, I forgot. That's now we're done. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's cool now.
I did a Johnny Sanchez bit that I had to take it from him.
Yeah.
Because it was too esoteric. It was about because it mentioned Mesopotamia and Babylonia in it. Right.
Okay.
Now it's not a common thing.
Yeah.
It's not like, boy, women are this and guys are this,
right.
you know. And he says, don't worry about it. I says, Johnny, I have to worry about it. I couldn't have possibly thought of the same exact, you know. So I dropped it.
Yeah.
I wanted it, and it was funny because I was doing Jimmy Fallon, and it was the one bit they loved. Oh yeah, do that thing about whatever. I go, I can't do it.
Yeah, it's not my joke.
No, that's why it's so good because it's not mine.
And he ran it for 9 years and made it perfect, and then I took it. Yeah.
He said the funniest thing when he was on here, which I loved. He goes, you know, he says, you, even though you're from the '80s, you don't remind me of an '80s comic. I go, what's an '80s comic like? And he goes like this. He says they go like this.
That's what the '80s comic.
That's what his idea of an '80s comic was. Incredulous.
'80s headshots of the comics are the best.
Oh yeah.
Because they all have their little gimmick. Some guy's holding the phone. I mean, you go to the Comedy Store and you just see these old ones. And I'm thinking, what was your original headshot? Do you remember that?
No. A lot more hair and a lot less face.
A lot less face and a lot less hair. That's the name of your
more
second
hair.
CD. Oh, more hair. Sorry.
More
hair, less face. The Lost Tracks. More hair, less face.
Do you do characters?
I don't really. No, I don't. No, I don't. I was hosting this show on G4 called Attack of the Show. I wasn't the host. I was a guest host. And the monologue writers were great, but they kept writing in these little accents and characters for me.
Right.
And the first week, I'm like trying them because I don't know these people, and I'm just. And then finally, I'm like, no more of these fucking accents. You know, they'd go do the New England accent and then do this, and I go, guys, I'm just me. Like I'm just me. You know, but I love when a guy can do a character or any comic can do a character, but that's not really what I do, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you tell stories.
I don't even know what I do.
You don't even know what you do. I don't know what you fucking do either. I just said that.
I'm not even a fan. I tell you what, if I didn't have to stay in the room for my act, I'd astral project. I'd be on that fucking scooter.
Well, you can start doing that now with the holograms.
Yeah.
You could just hologram. If Tupac is dead, doing a concert.
Is Tupac really dead?
I think he's dead. Yeah, someone shot him. I think.
It's a shame.
It is a shame.
He had so much to live for.
He's a great comedian.
He was funny. Early Tupac. He used to do that Richard Pryor bit. Oh, that was Eddie Murphy.
That first story, his first album, Tupac. Those were some great jokes.
Yeah.
Oh.
A lot of good things behind those people. So what do you got coming up?
What's coming up?
I don't mean to put pressure on you, by the way.
No, it's okay.
You know what? Because let me say this before you answer me. If you're writing stand-up, you got that coming up.
Yeah, cool.
I don't like when I'm out in L.A. I never say, "Oh, what's going on?"
That's
I say
the worst.
I say it's good to see you.
It's good to see you. I like that.
But
Well, I just did that Fox thing that you did as well.
Yeah.
And so we're preparing. We did that little workshop night, and now February 13th, we're shooting these things.
Oh, you got picked up?
I got picked up. Yeah. So it was me and a bunch of other people. I don't know how much I'm supposed to say or not say, but we're just shooting it as a pilot. So who knows if that is? But that's what I'm focusing on now. And
so you got the pilot?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
so that's
great.
cool. It's a 8 to 10 minute two scenes based on my comedy. So that's cool. That's fun to get to do that. You asked if I act. I don't really do a ton of acting, but this is me acting in words that I wrote for myself, which seems to be easier to act those words.
Cool.
And then I got some road gigs. Joey's Livonia, February 14th, Valentine's Day weekend.
I don't know when this comes out, but
Who knows?
you were great there, by the way.
I killed it. And then, I got March. I'm in a Minneapolis casino, Mystic Lake. And then I'm at...
This will be on by then.
Yeah, hopefully. Funny Bone in St. Louis. I can pull out my phone. I don't know. I got a bunch of stuff coming up. But it's michaelkosta.com, and it's also my Twitter handle, @MichaelKosta. So,
Michael, thank you so much for being on. You're great.
Dom.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Give
this
me a
is
hand.
sweet. All right,
See
give
you
me a
next
hand.
week.
That's about what happens after my show.
Thank you.
Each time that I think of you, I get distracted by something more interesting. Whoa, people say